and thanks for joining. Today I will be discussing the narrative paradigm theory. This theory was developed by Walter Fisher. Walter Fisher asserts that human communication reveals more than rationality, curiosity, and symbol-using capacity. He first introduced the concepts of good reasons and then expanded on to the narrative paradigm theory. This theory claims that almost all communication of ideas tells a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. 5 important concepts of this theory are that people are storytellers, that people make decisions based on good reasons, that history, biology, culture, and our character determine on what we consider good reasons, and that people use the standards of narrative rationality to determine the validity of a story, and in general that the world is a set of stories that we choose which constantly recreate our lives. So let me expand a little more on the narrative rationality. There are 2 main points in this concept: coherence, explaining whether the listener thinks that the story hangs well, that it pulls together well, and fidelity, on whether or not it strikes a chord when we're listening. Fisher claims that armed with a bit of common sense, each of us can see the point of a good story. A couple of years ago, I met an individual, and we were in a relationship for 10 months, for a little over 10 months. He shared stories with me regarding his upbringing, about his family, and just what he wanted for his future. The fidelity of his story and the coherence, it all played together very well. Now that I've discussed my experience, I'll make some inferences on how the theory works. We are, as humans, we tend to listen to the stories, and the style and the beauty, they play a pivotal part on whether we determine as listeners that we want to get into the story. As in my experience, well-told stories are attractive, but they're not always good. The text briefly goes over the case of Hitler and also describes some of the issues of the power of evil in our world. I, as Fisher, believe that I am overly optimistic that people have a natural tendency towards truth and justice. Without the intervention at the time when I was involved with this gentleman, my loving family intervened, and my dear friends, my situation could have been disastrous as well. Now I'll make some inferences as to how this knowledge can be transferred. In the enrichment video that we watched, Michael Shermaine, he discussed humans' tendencies and also issues on our self-deceptive patterns. I think by using the information that Fisher describes on the narrative rationality and applying it to all stories, and truly seeing that stories hang true, and also truly engaging our embedded values, can be a huge asset when we are listening to stories. So in conclusion, what I've gained from this new knowledge is just a better insight as to how to judge speakers' stories. Rather than having an optimistic outlook, it's important to know that there are bad stories out there. So what I'd like to leave as a thought is just beware of the bad stories.